Hi, Louis just walked in, and he's looking at me right now. He's very cute, but he's so naughty, so we might have some noise going on. But look, I thought I would come on here and have a catch up with you. I want to tell you about how the handbag sale went, what I've still got for sale, where you can go and look at it if you're interested. But moreover, I want to talk about how I'm going to be changing up this channel. I've touched on it before, but I'm going to talk about how I'm changing up the channel. And crucially, I'm going to talk about the house. So some of you will know we're in the process of buying a new house. I'm going to tell you about that. I'm going to just go into a lot more detail. So, starting with the handbag sale. That's why I have next to me all of these dust bags, because the bags that I've sold, I was like trying to find the dust bags to go with them, and I keep all the dust bags, like I've got so many. I keep them all in my handbag cupboard, and I had to take them all out and like try and find the relevant bag, dust bag that goes with the relevant bag. But what I've done is I did a live stream with Sabrina at Luxury Promise on Wednesday. That was really good fun. And because I got to do it at home, I wasn't really as nervous. It was just like making a video, really. It was just quite fun. But there are still some bags for sale. I will link to them in the description below this video. Currently, the situation is everything that I sold has been boxed up and is ready to be sent to Luxury Promise. So if you bought off the back of that live stream, just a little update from me on it, I would imagine it's going to take a week to 2 weeks for you to get your item, just because of where you might be based in the world, but also because the items need to get to Luxury Promise. They need to do their own checks. They then need to package them up nicely for you and get them sent out for you. So there could be a slight delay. But if you bought from me and you have any questions at all, feel very free to email me if you want to know like where your stuff's at. I can try and help you as much as I can. But currently right now, I've still got it all. It's on its way. It's on its way. So yeah, not everything's sold. To be honest, the time of the show, I think we're going to look to do a different time next time, because for you guys in the States, the time of the show worked out to be 4 in the morning. And I did actually have, bless you, I had quite a few of you wake up at 4 in the morning to join me, and you were writing in the comments like, I'm here, and I recognised your names, and I felt really honoured that you would join me at that time of the morning. But Sabrina and I were chatting after, and we were like, oh, maybe let's do it again at some point, but do it at a different time of day that works with the US side of things. So I know it was an awkward time, and even Veronica, who I think you're in Italy, yes, you're in Italy, you were even saying to me, oh, it's like a weird time, and I'm at work, I'm in the office, blah blah blah. So yeah, I get it. But I will link to everything below that is still available. I think one of the items does not have a picture. It's the lilac silver buttoned Balmain blazer. Doesn't have a picture on it, I'm pretty sure, on the listing. But if you've seen it, that's what you're going to get. So I'll link to all of that below. Okay, so how is the channel going to be changing? I really want to evolve the channel. I've spoken before about how, do you remember I did that video where it was like midlife crisis video? I don't know if I'd say it's not a crisis, but I've definitely grown up in the last 10 years, as everyone does. And things that I enjoyed 10 years ago, some of them I still enjoy, but like a lot of the things that I was into 10 years ago, I'm not really so into now. And I felt for a long time like this YouTube channel has been restricting me, because I know that you guys subscribe to me for luxury. And whenever I do non-luxury, which has been a lot recently, I drop a lot of subscribers, which it's not, I don't care about the numbers, but what I care about is upsetting you guys, and I don't want you watching going, what is this? Like, I don't care about your life. I want to know about luxury fashion. I want to see you going shopping. I want to see you do all of that. And obviously I really haven't been doing that because it doesn't float my boat these days. I still am into it, but I've got other priorities, you know? I got other priorities. So yeah, I just don't want to sort of like upset you or put you off or make you feel any sort of way. I want to create this as a space where as many of you as possible, you like being here. So what I'm going to do is, I've written it down. Here's what we're going to do. I've come up with new branding, And I'm going to put that live once I move into the new house, God willing, that all goes according to plan. Because if you've bought a house before, you will know sometimes things fall apart. It can happen. But once I get in the new place, I'm going to put up the new branding. The new branding is very different to what I've got at the moment. My branding at the moment, I've had it since 2014. It's sort of like pink, it's quite fun, it's quite young. And I don't feel like that's relevant to me anymore. So I've come up with new branding. I'll put it in here so you get a little taster. And my new branding is sort of more mature, it's more grown up, it's more elegant, I feel, and it's more simple. And this branding is going to reflect the new direction of the channel. So what I'm going to talk about in the new direction is luxury and fashion. I'm going to talk about those things. I'm also going to talk about beauty more because, for example, I talk to you a lot about the current body products that are ace, and I can see a lot of you are quite interested in that. So I'm going to introduce more beauty, but I want to do homeware. Home is what I'm calling it. So I'm going to do like DIY, transforming rooms, you know, that kind of thing. And I've had a lot of you be so helpful and say to me, like, be really careful what you film of your home, because there are some crazy people out there that will bend over backwards to find out where you've moved to. And I totally hear what you're saying. Like, even things like window frames. Some people have time on their hands. Some people, maybe they don't have a job or something and they got time on their hands to try and investigate you. And so when it comes to that, you know, I am going to be very aware of it, and just anything that's telling in the property, I'm going to be very mindful of it. But I do want to show you how we decorate things. And for example, I've spoke about this just yesterday on a Patreon video, and that Patreon video hasn't gone live yet. So any of my Patreons, you haven't seen it yet. But just briefly, I speak a lot more about it in there. But I think it was that video. But no, it's a Q&A that's going out next Wednesday. That's it. I was talking in that Q&A about how we were thinking about doing the whole millennial grey thing. Like, I follow a lot of home accounts on Instagram, and whenever I see things that I like how someone's done a staircase or how they've done paneling on a wall, I will screenshot, and I've got a folder on my phone called Home where I just save everything. And I was going to do the whole grey paneling thing, but then I thought, oh, it's a trend and I want to be a bit more me. I'm a colourful person. I like a bit of grey. You know, we got some grey going on. I like a bit of grey. But I like colour, I like vibrancy. And we went and visited a couple of friends a couple of weeks back now, and they had us over at their home, and I've never been to their home before, and I walked in, David and I, and we were just like, our jaws hit the floor. The most beautiful home you've ever seen in your life. But the way they'd decorated it was just next level breathtaking. It wasn't grey walls. It wasn't like, you know, it wasn't like black door frames. You know how everyone's doing, like, there's nothing wrong with that. It looks really chic. The black doors, the black radiators, the grey walls. It wasn't that. It was like they'd done the panelling, but they painted the walls off-white, sort of like a creamy white. Very, very slight though. And then they had these huge canvases that were like pop art. Don't know if you know what pop art is. I actually studied it at school because I'm very into art, but I really like more current art. And for example, I studied Roy Lichtenstein, Andy Warhol, but you know, that sort of genre. And and that's what I'm into. But I was gonna sort of go for like grey canvases, and I looked around and I thought, no, this is my vibe. You know, like bright colour pieces of furniture and large canvases in bright colours and vibrant, and breaking out of the mould of what is cool at the moment and just being yourself. And I looked round and I was like, where did you get this? Where did you get that? Where did you get this? And when I went home at the end of the day, Dave and I, it was food for thought for us both. And in fact, I've got large canvas paintings I did when I was at school of my own life, but drawn in a Roy Lichtenstein style. So he used like primary colours, and he used dots and lines and solid colour to create images. And for like exams that I did and stuff, I studied him, so I came up with my own. Like, I'd take a picture of me with my friends and I'd recreate it and I'd draw it on a large canvas, but in his style. And my parents still have all of that at home, and they've said to me, like, they've got it hanging on a wall, like it's over 6 foot long, it's like a rectangle, and they've got it like down this long corridor in their house. And they said to me, look, we really like it, but if you want it back for your new house, you can have it. I might actually have it back. I don't want to leave them with nothing on their wall. It's been up there for like 20 years, but that kind of thing. So I don't know until I get in there what I'm going to do, but I do think I'm going to make it more our style. And David doesn't really care. He's like, it's a house. I don't, you know, he's like, I want to get involved with the decorating, obviously, but he's like, I don't really care about wall art. He was like, that I'm going to leave that to you. So that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. Something like that. Make it fun. Make it fresh. Now, when it comes to renovations, so this actually was something I was talking about on Patreon. Years and years and years and years ago, one place that we bought, going back years, we bought it and then it turned out it needed work doing to it. And we kind of knew, like, it was a bit dated, but I think the mistake we made is we knew it needed work, but we didn't quite realise how in-depth that work was going to be and how long that work was going to take to complete. So we're like living in this place and we were like, right, let's go for it. Let's get some quotes in, let's get decorators, let's get builders in, new bathroom, new kitchen, let's do the full thing. Do you know the mistake we made? The mistake we made, and a lot of, it's not even a mistake, because from a budget perspective, sometimes you have to do this, but we lived there while it was being renovated and it was a miserable existence for, like, I want to say like definitely 1 month, maybe 2 months. It dragged on. For example, in order to paint, all the carpets had to come up. We wanted to change the carpets anyway and put like wooden flooring in. So all the carpets come up, and the gripper has been left around the edges. You know the strips of wood with the spikes that come up that the carpet hooks into? That was all exposed, which is really dangerous if you tread on that. We had builders in daily, except for weekends. And so you got to get up at like 6 every morning. I mean, I was up then anyway for work, but David was working from home at the time, and he couldn't get his work done because he had builders being like, you all right, mate? That's unfair, isn't it? No, but they'd be like, can we have tea? Can we have coffee? Like, taking breaks, you know, and he just wasn't able to, he was project managing. So he wasn't able to get on with his work. We had Henry, our rabbit, at the time. I don't know if you remember Henry. Oh, I loved him. He couldn't get comfy. He was like on our bed because he didn't want to, like, and it was dangerous with that carpet gripper around as well, you know, because like rabbits like to hunker down in a corner and get all comfy, and he couldn't do it on a bare MDF floor, which is the flooring that was in there. It wasn't actual floorboards in this particular place, we discovered when we took the carpets up. So we don't want to do that again, but we might have to. We might have to. David did say, oh, I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do. So what else? Oh yeah, I was going to tell you as well about something that happened in another place that we bought. So we bought that first place and then we did it up, and I didn't want to move because we did it up so nicely. So initially I wanted to move. I was like, I'm done with this place, I want to go. And then we did it up and it looked so good. It was like a show home. And I said to David, I don't want to move anymore. I want to stay here. Like, we've made it look amazing. And he was like, no. He was like, let's move because we've done it up to this level. We can get more money for it. And let's upgrade to the next place. So we did it. And do you know what the problem with that was? Oh, bless him, David. The next place we moved to needed work as well, because it's how it goes, isn't it? You get to the next place, it's the next level up. That needs work, so like it all started again. But anyway, the first place we were in, where we lived there when it was being done up, that one, when we had Henry, the place had not been, it turned out hadn't been built very well. So it had like the pipe work in it that you don't see because it's in the walls, that delivers water to your taps, etc. It turns out the pipes were plastic. They hadn't used copper or any sort of metal. And so what happened was, over time, the plastic fractured and aged and cracked and started to literally snap off in the walls. And one day I come home from work and I was like, I took a shower and I'd had a really rough day, and I remember being really grouchy. I was like sat watching TV, and I could literally hear in the kitchen, suddenly, it sounded like David had turned on the kitchen tap full blast and had just left it to like spray everywhere. And I was like, what is he doing? What is he doing? And I was, as I say, I was grumpy. And I was like, David, what are you doing? And he didn't answer back. And I was like, this is weird. And after a while, I was like, no, seriously, what is that noise? And I walk in the kitchen. And you know when you have spotlights in the ceiling, like we've got them in here, you know where they're sunken into the roof? And they're like LED bulbs. Every single one was hanging out by its electrical cable. And there were 6 of them in the kitchen, right? And there was a channel of water, like not just a trickle, like a channel of water pouring out the holes of all 6. And the lights were still on, like they hadn't gone off. I was like, holy moly, that electrics and water, that's a bad start. But also it was just pooling into the kitchen. So I'm in my dressing gown, I've got my hair up in a towel, and I get out 2 pans, and I'm stood in the kitchen underneath 2 of the lights trying to catch all the water, but the pans were filling up in no time. And I was stood there, I was like, David! I didn't know where he was in the house. I was like, where has he gone? He bursts in through the front door because it turns out he knew from some of our neighbours this had happened, because we were in a flat at the time and it was happening to other people. Do you know who burst in the door behind him? I'm like a crazy person shouting and like losing my mind because the kitchen's getting trashed. The fire brigade burst in after him, and they're carrying like these dustbins or something, and they just walked in the kitchen, and I'm still stood there with pans out like this, catching the water. And I was just like, what is going on? And they're like putting the dustbins underneath the channels of water to catch the water. Then they go out and they turn off the main water in the road to like stop the water coming in. I've got neighbours in the place being like, oh my God, my place is being ruined. And I was like, yeah, bingo, so's mine. Like, and I'm in my pajamas and I'm in a grumpy mood. And then the next morning was awful because the water hadn't been turned on. So I had to drive to the gym to take a shower before I could go to work that day. And that went on for like a couple of days because builders, like a plumber got called in, but they couldn't find which pipe had broken. And that was the point where they said to us, by the way, all the pipes are plastic, so it's just going to go pop, pop, pop all around the whole place in due course. And there's nothing can be done. They're just going to have to be fixed as and when they break. So we left there. That was the one that we did up and then moved. But yes, that's going to be the plan for the channel. I want to evolve it. I want to grow it up. I want to just add more to it that's a bit interesting, that's a bit different, that, you know, luxury's cool and it's fun, but it's limiting. I'm finding it limiting. I think unless you go shopping all the time and you're doing lots of hauls and you're doing lots of shopping vlogs, it's limiting. Like, what can you really talk about? Like, I'll pull out the same few bags out of my collection and be like, oh, this is worth it. That's not, like, that's boring now to me. And if it's boring to me, it's boring to you. I feel like I've been there and I've done that and I want to move on. So that's going to be the plan. Let me know if you're into that. I know I'm going to lose subscribers. I know I am, because it's going to be a change of direction and some of you aren't going to like the new direction. I just hope that you do. I'm going to keep it more like real talks, home, lifestyle, beauty, bit of fashion, bit of luxury, but the luxury is going to be like, I want to say 25% to 30% of the content that's on the channel. The rest of it's going to be, I want it to be like more wholesome. And not just about shopping all the time, even though there will still be fashion involved. So, as I say, I'd love to get your feedback. Please let me know what you think, and I will see you on Wednesday. There's going to be a Q&A, by the way, on Wednesday, and it's like a 40-minute long Q&A, and your questions are brilliant. So come back and check out then. Anyway, have a great rest of your Sunday.